Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I have my first book haul that I've done since I think February. If you've been following my videos the past couple of months, I was on a big bookshelf purge. I unhauled a ton of books and I am focusing on reading all the books on my TBR. So because of that, I have set kind of a goal for myself to become more intentional with what I am buying and only really buying books that I have like an immediate plan to read. So these are all of the books that I've bought since like March when I started doing this, and there's only 17 books. Before, it was like the amount of books that I would buy in like 2 months. And on top of that, I've read over half of them already. There's only 6 of them that I have not read. I'll start with the ones that I have read, so this will also be kind of like a little mini wrap up. First, we have Thirst. This is a sapphic vampire book that I loved. I loved this so much. It is by an Argentinian author and has been translated into English, and it follows these 2 women across centuries. One of them is a vampire and how their paths end up crossing. If you're looking for a book with Carmilla vibes, I definitely recommend this one. Next, I have Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. This is the sequel to Butcher and Blackbird, which was one of my favorite books of last year. And this one is another one that follows killers. The girl in this book is a serial killer and the guy is assassin for hire, and they end up having to get fake married, and I really enjoyed this one. I don't know as much as the first book, but I really liked the couple in this book because the guy was like obsessed with the heroine, and that is like one of my favorite tropes. Like literally the entire book he was on his knees for her, and if that is not how the romance goes, I don't want it. Then I have another serial killer book, and that is How I'll Kill You by Ren DeStefano. This follows triplets who all murder their boyfriends. So they pick men to like start dating so that they can kill him, and one of the triplets has never killed anybody. So it's now her turn to do it, and her sisters pick a target for her, this guy, and she starts dating him, and she falls in love with him, and she's like, I don't want to kill him, but her sisters are like making her do it. This was a very fun thriller. It definitely wasn't like my favorite, but if you're looking for a thriller that has like a little romance to it and has very unhinged characters and just like a fun, fast-paced plot, I thought this was very enjoyable. Then I have An Excellent Host by Chelsea G. Summers, which I keep feeling really bad every time I talk about this book because I don't know if you can still purchase this. I actually am not sure how I got this copy. It just showed up to me and there was no like note or anything. Whoever sent this to me, don't know how they got my address. Like, I kind of don't want to think about it because I'm like, how did this get to me? But somebody sent it to me, so thank you. This was like a special exclusive for Independent Bookstore Day. I do hope that eventually she releases it as like an ebook or something so other people can experience it because it is amazing. It's a very short story about this guy who's been dating this woman on a dating app, and she invites him to a dinner party, but it turns out he is not there to attend the dinner party. He is there to be the dinner, and I loved it. The next one is The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. This is a book that I gave 5 stars. I was obsessed with it. Another killer book. Honestly, there's kind of a trend here. All these books are about female killers. This one is about a girl whose mom starts dating this guy who's just like really terrible, and she starts to get an obsession with eyeballs, but specifically his eyeballs, his ocean blue eyes. And I just loved slowly watching this woman descend into unhinged chaos. This was a debut, I think, and I literally cannot wait for whatever Monica Kim writes next. I will pre-order it because this is probably one of the standout debuts I've read in a long time. Another debut, I think, is Road to Ruin by Hannah Lee. This is a kind of like Mad Max fantasy dystopian type of story about this world where there are these like electrical storms. So all of these cities are under domes, and the main character is a magic motorbike rider, and her job is to travel out into the wasteland to deliver messages from city to city. One of the correspondence that she is always carrying are these love letters back and forth from a princess to a prince from another city. And this was so fun. It's polyamorous. It's very action-packed. I just loved the world in here with the wasteland and the way that magic worked. It's a really fun read. Next up, I have Funny Story by Emily Henry, which is hands down my favorite romance that I've read this year. This one is about two people who were recently broken up with. The heroine's fiance goes away on his bachelor party and then comes back and decides that he is in love with his female best friend. He's calling off the wedding. She needs to move out in a week because him and his new girl Petra are going on what was supposed to be their honeymoon, and she needs to be gone by the time they get back. So she ends up moving in with the guy who was dating the girl that her fiance left her for. So their partners left each other to be together. So they end up moving in together. It was so fun. I said this a lot in my vlog where I read this, but it really, really reminded me of New Girl. And especially the guy was giving me Nick Miller vibes, but there were so many New Girl references to it, and that is one of my all-time favorite shows. Definitely my favorite romance of the year, my favorite Emily Henry that I've read so far. I also got my mom to read it, and she really loved it also, which was a great success to me because she does not read romance. Next up, another 5-star book, and that is The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. This is I think this is Fairy Loot edition that I tracked down because I needed to have it. It is so beautiful. This is a cozy fantasy, sapphic, magical, kind of historical romance vibes about this girl who becomes the honey witch of this island, and her job is to protect the island, and she meets a girl who does not believe in magic, and she is determined to convince her that magic is real. And it was just so cute. It was honestly everything that I wanted. I feel like if you put all of the little tiny things that I love into a jar and shook it up, this is what would come out. Oh, I also got the Evernight edition of The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. I have 2 editions of this book now. I'm gonna be honest though, I'm probably going to be selling this edition. I'm not sure because I kind of think it's ugly. I don't know. I don't really like it. And I actually think I might be canceling my Evernight subscription because I haven't really loved any of their special editions. I do like the sprayed edges. Sprayed edges are fun. I just don't like the cover art. I do like the end pages. If this had been the cover or this, oh my god, that would have been so much better. These are beautiful. Maybe I'll keep it and I'll just have it open like that. I don't know. I don't love this art. So sorry to whoever the artist is. Not my fave. Next, I have You're the Problem, It's You by Emma R. Albin. This is the sequel to Don't Want You Like a Best Friend, which is one of my favorite romances this year. And I believe this one just came out. I got an arc of it. And this is a queer historical romance following 2 characters that we met in the first book. And the 2 girls from the first book are playing matchmaker to set them up. And I won't say yet what I thought of it because you will see this in an upcoming video. But if you're looking for books that give you the vibe of Bridgerton but are very, very queer, I highly, highly recommend this series. Okay, and then the last 2 that I have from the stack that I've read, technically I've only read one of them, but it is the Silver Under Nightfall and Court of Wanderers. I think these are Illumicrate editions. Silver Under Nightfall was one of my favorite books of last year. I was obsessed with it, and this is the second book that came out this year, and I knew that I needed to get these copies because the regular Court of Wanderers cover is so ugly. Again, so sorry to that cover artist. It is ugly. So very excited to have these. It is beautiful, beautiful. I have not read the second book yet. I'm nervous too because I honestly have not heard a single good review for it from people who also love this book as much as I do. So I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't know, I'll read it eventually, but I am very nervous. I'm very nervous to do it. If you don't know, Silver Under Nightfall is an adult gothic vampire book that was amazing, polyamorous rep. I feel like it combines a lot of genres. It's equal parts fantasy, romance, horror, and has one of my favorite polyamorous trios, and it is so, so underrated. It actually kind of blows my mind every time I check Goodreads and see how many people have read it. It is not nearly enough. Okay, so now I have the 5 books that I have not read yet, and these are all on my TBR tackle shelves. So you probably saw them recently if you watched my physical TBR video. So we have A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. This one is a queer gothic historical book about these two guys who live in a botanical garden and they create life out of plants. And I think it's kind of like giving Frankenstein vibes. One of the main reasons that I bought it, one, because the cover is beautiful, and also it is blurbed by Delilah S. Dawson, who wrote Bloom. And I was like, yeah, I will be getting that. Thank you very much. The next two I got specifically because they were recommended to me by my patrons. Every once in a while, my patrons like to do this thing where they bully me into reading books. Politely bully me into reading books. And these are two that they've aggressively been telling me I need to read. So the first one is A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows. This is an adult fantasy that I think is very heavy on like court politics, which is one of my favorite types of fantasies. It says that it has Byzantine politics, lush sexual energy, and a queer love story that is by turns sweet and sultry. And then the other one is To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Moniquel Blackgoose. This one is an indigenous fantasy about a dragon academy. I do believe that this one is more of like a heavy fantasy that goes like deep into themes of like colonialism, homophobia, racism. Also, I have to show you the maps in here because the map is beautiful. Also, what is a little bit intimidating, there is a periodic table. In what world does a fantasy book need a periodic table? That scares me. I look at that and I get very intimidated. The next one I got is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. It's a fantasy inspired by the legend of the Chinese moon goddess, where a young woman's quest to free her mom sets her on a dangerous path against the most powerful immortal in the realm. I have heard mixed things about this, but the people who love this book have really convinced me to give it a try. So we will see about that one. That one's kind of, it was a risky purchase, but we'll see. And then the last one I got is Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell, which has been recommended to me in my comments endlessly. This one is like a sapphic, cozy monster romance. This could not be more of a Riley book if I wrote it myself. So this is following this monster that's a shapeshifter. She's running from these monster hunters and she falls off a cliff and gets injured, and this beautiful girl comes to rescue her, and she starts to fall in love with the girl and they become girlfriends, but then she finds out that that girl is from the family of monster hunters. And it just sounds so fun, and everyone that I've been seeing who's read this recently loved it. So this is very high up on my TBR. I think this might be one of the first books that I read for fall when we finally get into fall season. So those are all of the books that I have bought in the past like 5 months, and you probably will not see another book haul from me in a while. Hopefully. I've honestly really been enjoying buying books more intentionally and being more selective with what I purchase. For a lot of the books that I read, I got them from the library, read it first, liked it, and then bought myself a copy, which I know doesn't sound revolutionary. That kind of sounds like common sense, but that is not something that I would do very often before. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon where I post tons of exclusive content. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!